So I've been talking about this second half of 2023. I wanted to do a few things on AI, the artificial intelligence, and really opened a can of worms when I started to put this in. Now, most of my uh, listeners are on my podcast. And I haven't done very much with the YouTube channel other than record it here. So there's going to be a lot of I don't know, bells and whistles associated with the video. But as I went through and started watching some YouTube videos on AI, reading on it, different things, it's quite another world. And it seems at this point that a lot of it has to do more with kind of elementary things that it is capable of doing. And I would anticipate as time goes by that it'll be able to do a lot more. Um, and when I talk about elementary things, I'm talking about things like summarizing articles and but it's getting more sophisticated. I'm starting to see some things that are more appropriate for businesses and organizations to be able to use. And it's just like anything new. It's going to take a while for people to adapt to what the capabilities are. But the one thing that I wanted to talk about this week is just like when computers first came out, it's still garbage in, garbage out. So in other words, if you're not asking the right questions, then you're not going to get the right response. And it reminds me of General Lee at Gettysburg talking to General Ewell, or sending a message to General Ewell to take that Stony Hill if practicable. And so that wasn't a direct order, although I think it was meant to be. And so Ewell decided that, nah, too hard, been a long day, I'm not going to take that. And pretty much the rest is history. But so you can get not, it's very easy to get outcomes that you're not satisfied with. And so where I thought I'd start in talking about this is first of all, big picture. Only thing I was familiar with at first was ChatGPT, and now there's a whole series of larger AI interfaces, and then more around prompt, because I think if you train yourself correctly, which I didn't when I first started playing around with these, then you will get better results for what you're looking for. So I think there's a certain discipline associated with how you interact with it in order to get the results that you're looking for. So first of all, there is Chat GPT, and that's Open AI, and that's pretty much every from television and articles that's been probably the most talked about. And Chat GPT comes with plugins. When you're using it, if you use the upgraded version. But now you have Claude, which I just started playing with, and Bod, and Google AI, and that's in beta. So there's a number of other things. So there's a lot more for me to learn to be able to share with you. And I'm sure that some of you are probably more aware than I. But I promise to talk about it. And I think that the best place to start is by something that they're calling prompt engineering, which is how do you write prompts that give you information that's useful. Now, I've seen that there are jobs out there for this exercise that are $150,000 on up, and hiring someone to do this within your organizations. But regardless, I think we'll all be using it at some point. I think it's just good to get habits associated with what would be a good way to interact with an AI interface. And so the first set came from, and I'm a little confused, it came out of a channel on YouTube called App of the Day, but this same person does something, a channel called Howfinity, which is got some 700,000 plus users. But I did find some of his information useful, and I'll put a link to his information in the description. But he basically has, says here are some of the things that you need to be able to learn to do in prompts and be specific. State your intent, use correct spelling and grammar, direct the output format. How do you want it to look when it comes out? Do you want it a table? Do you want it, bullet points, numbers? Ask follow-up questions, prompt, fact checking, basically, fact checking different things, almost like to an extent more interactive, but kind of like Google. And this particular video, and again, I'll put it in the description, has a format of an acronym, which is CSIR, context, specific information, intent, what is the intent of what you're putting out there, and response format. And I would also add into that at the beginning is what role do you want the AI to play when you're interacting with it. I want you to be an expert in, project management. And, in project management, I'm a beginner in project management. Let's say you're an executive, you just want to understand a little bit more about how project management works. I need to know specific information. I'm interviewing people, and I'd like to know more about what project managers do. And the format or the intent is to ask good interview questions during when I interview project managers for a big project that we're working on, and I'd like the response to be, the most important characteristics that you need in a project manager to the least important, something of that sort. And so what you do is then you start to get more, information from the AI interface. Now, another channel that I looked at was Cody on Chain, and one of the things that he talked about that I think is important, especially for an executive, is you can go into incognito mode with ChatGPT. Now, I don't know about the other ones, Claude and Bod and Google, all of those. I'm not sure about what their capabilities are, but as far as incognito, but if you don't want, information, other people to read it, and, get information about your company, those types of things, I thought that was a useful aspect of ChatGPT. And again, I don't know what the other ones have it. I would assume that they either have or will. And so in that video, pretty much the same things, except one thing that I really like from this is from this particular video was that you can get tell the prompt, the AI prompt when you're putting your questions, say, look, if you want, I need to get really specific, in this about what project managers do. Can you ask additional questions about, project management, or it even could be marketing, for instance. Ask me more detailed questions. You are the marketing expert. I want to understand, how I can make my marketing better in my organization, for instance. Pretty broad, but you get the sense of the idea is that you can ask AI to get clarification from you, and I thought that was an interesting aspect. So in other words, it's helping you write the prompt, I guess would be the bottom line of it. Um, but, some early ideas, and these will be for some future episodes on AI, are, you can get, a summary. Somebody sends you a big long something, you know, it could be anything from legal to some big marketing thing, but you can, you know, put it into AI and it'll summarize that, or even an article maybe about your company or organization or person or whatever it is. And then it will also gives you the capability, can generate ideas for you. But again, using this format of putting this AI in the role of an expert and being creative, and I'm looking for some creative ideas around, and again go through your context, specific information, your intent, and what format that you want it in. So anyway, those are some of the basics of it that I've learned so far. As I get into it a little bit more, um, I will put more specific uses in as far as other episodes, and also as I learn more about some of these other AI platforms that I just now beginning to uh, play around with, and get a sense of what their capabilities are. One note that I will make about ChatGPT: it is very, very woke. I guess would be the word to use. It's gonna it seems to want to uh, say that climate change and you know all of these things that are in that world, that it's, whoever has coded it or put information into it as its base knowledge has kind of gone, goes through and is supporting these things. So, it's going to tell you how important diversity and inclusion is, but doesn't really give you the, what's the downside of that too. Which, you if you go out on Twitter or any other place, you'll see people talking about it. So I'm curious to see as time goes by, as it learns how it adjusts some of its foundational principles that it has in there. Uh, how it actually learns. I think that will be an interesting, thing as we go through iterations, or the AI goes through its learning about things. So that's what I wanted to cover this week. And remember, always a better way.